everyone. I am Jenna. I have Tyler, our senior financial advisor here at the Tranel Financial Group today. Tyler, I really want to talk to you about this I-bond commotion. Can
Yeah.
you shed some light on anything to do with I-bonds? And then I have questions about what clients are asking you about it too. So shed some light on what this is.
Yeah. So a lot of clients have heard of double E savings bonds before, which are, a way that maybe your parents or grandparents used to buy savings bonds at the bank. And that's what they think of, these paper certificates. And I bond is similar to that. So it's called a Series I bond. And the reason it's getting so much attention is because the interest rate is tied to the inflationary increase that we've seen, right? So what they're doing is they're tracking inflation, and the I bond is tied to that. So they reprice an I bond every 6 months. And right now it's paying 9.62%. So think about that, 9.62% on a lower risk type of investment, right? And it's something that definitely gets your attention. So the Treasury Direct is actually where you can get a lot of information. So I'm going to share my screen here, and you can see treasurydirect.gov or treasurydirect.gov. And if you just click the link that said I savings bonds or Series I savings bonds, they do a really good job just outlining what an I bond is and how it works. So, for clients of mine that have purchased I bonds, or they say, how can I get some, right? You can go to treasurydirect.gov, create an account. You can actually purchase them right through here. You'd have a login, you'd be able to track it, see it, etc. As it goes through. But just like I had said, the confusing part that clients ask is they say, do I get this 9.62% forever? Right? And how cool would that be to sign up and get that every year? But no, it's a combination of what they call a fixed interest rate and then the inflation rate. And they set the inflation rate 2 times a year, so every 6 months. So these will reprice every 6 months at what the current rate is. But if you look at it compared to an alternative, and this is the lens I always joke around with clients, is your checking account's probably getting you little to nothing right now, or savings account, or wherever you're parking your emergency fund. And I'll just say, do you think inflation is going to go higher over the next few years? And it's usually yes, right? So if inflation is going to go up, that means that the inflation rate will be higher, and interest should be higher on the I bonds over the next few years, right? So as we look down through, you can just see some of the takeaways that you would look at. Is minimum purchase, if you purchased electronically through Treasury Direct, would be $25. Minimum purchase if you bought a paper document would be $50. And then you could see the maximum, right? $10,000 is the maximum that you could purchase per individual. And that's something just to take note of. If you purchase a joint I bond with you and your spouse, 10,000 is the maximum. If you purchase one and your spouse purchases one, and you add a transfer on death or a beneficiary to it, you can purchase 10,000 for each of you. So that's just a little takeaway there on how you could possibly get more in I bonds to get more interest going for your behalf. And then the other key takeaway, Jenna, that's on here is just they pay interest for 30 years, right? So they're paying interest for 30 years. And ultimately, you really want to hold on to them for at least 5. After the 5th year, you can get out of them without a penalty. If you do need to get out of them before year 5, you lose 3 months worth of interest. So you lose 3 months worth of interest payments. So they give the example here on the website, right? If you cash in an I bond after 18 months, you would only get the first 15 months of interest, right? You lose 3 months of interest if you cashed in before the 5th year. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the I stands for inflation, correct?
That's what it's tied to, yes. So that's where the I comes from, a Series I bond, which is tied to the inflation index.
That makes sense to me. Okay. So when clients are coming to you, so thank you for that. That's great information. That's awesome. When clients come to you, are they asking, is this something I should be doing? Is this like a point of topic?
They do ask that a lot. They say, should I get an I bond, or is this right for me? Or I heard about these. And the answer is different for every person, right? It doesn't make sense for everybody. And, the question you need to ask yourself is, if you have a healthy emergency fund right? You have a healthy amount in cash, and the market's been very volatile, right? So a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
say, well, I've got my safety net here. And if it's something where you don't see yourself needing, let's say $10,000 of that emergency fund for a long period of time, this is a great alternative, right? So I'll just use an example. Let's say that you had $50,000 in savings, right? And it's probably generating you, pennies on the dollar. So maybe you're getting 50 cents a year or $5 a year in interest off this 50,000.
Mm-hmm.
This is an opportunity to say, well, I've never touched that 50,000. It's just sitting there. I'm going to take 10,000 and I'm going to put it into an I bond. And that 10,000 is going to generate, in that example, $962 in 1 year. Right. So think of the increase compared to what you were getting on the full 50,000, and you're only
Right.
using 1/5 of the proceeds. So don't put all your emergency fund money in an I bond. Absolutely not. Really, this is for individuals that have some excess funds. They're saying, how can I get a little bit more and I'm more long term with that money? Those are the people that should be buying into these.
And if someone wants to, they would literally go to the treasurydirect.org or .gov, excuse me. This is
Correct.
not something. Okay, perfect.
Nope,
Awesome.
it's the governmental website. So treasurydirect.gov or .gov. They do a really good job on this, right? You can click my accounts, it'll pop up, and you can either do login or open an account right there. So
Awesome.
it's click open an account and away you go.
That's awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for this. I do appreciate that. If you guys have any further questions, please feel free to call us at 847-680-9050 and ask for Tyler. He can definitely help answer these questions for you. So thank you, Tyler. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Have a great day.